Hello everyone, today is Friday, May 24th, 2024. We're starting Memorial Day weekend early, taking a 4-day trip to go visit the city of Baltimore. Right now I'm coming back around a little after 5 o'clock in the afternoon to visit the Baltimore Skyline. The body of water you see right here is the Baltimore Inner Harbor, and we are looking in the northbound direction. I'm standing in an elevated place in a park called Federal Hill Park, established in 1880. And the crossroads for this park is Battery Avenue, which is the small avenue, and the main arterial road here is Key Highway, appropriately named because if you are traveling from Baltimore downtown, this is the best route to travel to Fort McHenry. And given the last name Key is referencing Francis Scott Key, who played a major role, especially in the Battle of Fort McHenry taking place on September 13th, 1814, where he was inspired by the war to write the lyrics of the Star-Spangled Banner, which became the national anthem of the current United States in 1931. So let's take a look at some important landmarks over here. We are looking northbound right now, but let's start with the west. The main highway and interstates you see in the elevated section over here is Interstate 95, the JFK Memorial Highway, and the road coming behind us to the east. All this traffic is coming from the tolled Fort McHenry Tunnel, which opened in 1985. And this is connecting a 3-digit auxiliary interstate 395 to connect I-95 to the main city of Baltimore over here. We do see a stadium right here. This is M&T Bank Stadium or Park for the Baltimore Ravens, home of the NFL. And then we do see some lights over here. Can't see the stadium that well since there's some buildings blocking it, but this is the home of the Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yards. And then the convention center is blocked behind it over here. But this main building right here is the Maryland Science Center. And then we can see some of the waterfront. Seems to be pretty busy and lively here. Seeing a lot of boats over here. This building over here, this is the National Aquarium, and we will actually be traveling there in a few days. And you can see that there is a cross bridge right there to connect to a building with the number 4. That seems to be the marine aquarium portion of it. So this is the largest, I believe, the largest aquarium in the United States, even bigger than the New York Aquarium in Coney Island. So it's going to be very interesting to see it. And this is located in some of the piers. You can see a Pier 4. Seems to be that the piers are numbered in sequential order. You can see if you go in number 5 over here, and then there's number 6 over here. Right here, there seems to be a brand new park called Rashfield Park. It looks very nice, very modern. The area with sand over here is part of Baltimore Beach, specifically the volleyball. And I saw them earlier placing some nets, and some people right now are actually playing some volleyball right now. Seems to be some interesting development over here. And we can see over here that there is a building called the Constellation. Seems to be referencing a ship, which is right over here, called the USS Constellation, a warship that I believe was first built in 1854. So downtown is all the way down here, which the main street that is going eastbound for the waterfront on the north side is Pratt Street. If you want to go westbound, you go on Lombard Street. There is a street similar to Manhattan. There is a east and west grid, and seems to be that the dividing line is Charles Street, which seems to be west of here. can't see it visible. Originally, there was an interstate highway, Interstate 83, the Jones Fall Expressway, that would connect to Interstate 95 behind me in the south. What would have happened is that they would have built an elevated highway to cross over to Inner Harbor. And given all of the highway revolts, glad to see that this is not a reality, because look how beautiful it is today. So the Jones Fall Expressway, I-83, will connect from Baltimore all the way to I-81 in Pennsylvania, near Harrisburg. Let's take a look at some of the park itself. You can see that this architecture seems to be like in the 1880s. And it looks like the city of Baltimore is maintaining this pretty well, nice and clean. There is a flag over here, and once again, a great view of the harbor. It's great to see that there's interesting live activity here on the Inner Harbor. If you go further south and east along the river, you will realize that the port seems to have good activity, especially for trading and commerce, because they recently removed the Dolly, which is a Sri Lanka trading ship that unfortunately lost power on March 26, 2024, and it crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge, Interstate 695. So, yeah, recently reopened a few weeks ago, and seems to be that the city of Baltimore is recovering from this. Still going to take probably a few years to at least rebuild the highway, and that's a crucial link to connect a lot of the hazmat trucks, because they are not allowed to go into the two tunnels that cross into it, being the Fort McHenry Tunnel and the other tunnel being the Baltimore Harbor Tunnel, which opened in 1957 and carries Interstate 895. So instead, because I-695 is a loop, trucks with hazmats currently have to take the northwestern outer loop if you want to go to I-95. Again, if you have hazmat goods. But you can trucks could also possibly take other routes, such as I-83 or to I-78 eventually, too, if you want to go back to New York City. But it is very lovely weather to go into the port. This is the northeast portion of the park. And you can see that the east perimeter street is Covington Street. Key Highway is going to wrap around from eastward to southbound. And we can see a better view of the Constellation building. This museum over here is called the American Art and Visionary Museum. It does have some unusual art exhibits. You can see that interesting, what it looks like a pinwheel contraption over here in the lot. But I believe that the artwork looks pretty cool. I really like the outward design of the buildings. Right here, the water connecting to the Inner Harbor into the Atlantic Ocean is going to be the Patapsco River. And we can see a few buildings over here. Domino's Sugar. You can also see a few words called Under. The words behind it is Armor. clothing company, Under Armour. And you can see a tall building right here called the Harbor Towers. And I believe this is a pretty great view. I think this is the only tall building on this portion of the harbor, because all the other buildings downtown are a bit taller, but it does definitely got some good views over here. You can see some of the highway over here. That is Interstate 95, I believe. 895 might be under there as well, which has the two river crossings, Fort McHenry Tunnel, as well as the Baltimore Harbor Tunnel, which opened in 1957 and currently holds Interstate 895, the Baltimore Harbor Tunnel Thruway, a toll road. You can even see some of the cruise ships over here as well, the port. So this port is very big, and I'm glad that they were able to get this area open, so the economy might be able to be repaired. Still, once again, they have to work on repairing that bridge, which would take at least a couple of years. Federal Hill Park was originally Fort Federal Hill, and this was originally put up in 1861 for the Civil War to help defend the city of Baltimore at the time, which was growing. Hello everyone, it's Sunday morning, May 26, 2024, around 9 o'clock a.m. Right behind us, we're waiting for the admission for the National Aquarium, but in the meantime, we can at least enjoy this better view, quiet view of Baltimore Inner Harbor from the northern side. As you can see, this land right here is where I was 2 days ago, Federal Hill Park. And you can see how elevated this section is from where I was standing. You can get a better view of the boats over here. The Maryland Science Center is right here. And we got a better view of the waterfront. Royal Sonesta is over here. Can't really see the stadiums that well from here. I think a lot of the tall buildings are blocking my perspective. But we do have some passenger cruise lines. We got this white ship. The USS Constellation is right here, although most of the building is blocking it. Get a better view of it later. Interesting to see some dragon boats over here, and then some recreational boats right here as well. We do have the Chesapeake right here. This building right here is the National Aquarium, although the sunrise seems to be causing the glare, but you can barely see maybe even a sign right here that even says it's the National Aquarium. This gray ship over here is called the USS Torsk. So we do have actually two military, two naval ships right here. Great to see that the water has good reflection and it's kind of blue. It's actually pretty nice. Clear skies today. Not that many clouds. Here's a better view of some of the buildings that we saw last time, such as Silverman Thompson and FNB. Walking a little bit north of the Baltimore Inner Harbor, we got this cool sign, Visit Baltimore. Here's a better perspective of the National Aquarium and the Chesapeake. Got this steel structure here. Well, I'm very fascinated is to see this building called Lupin. Given my background and having recently graduated from pharmacy school, Lupin is a generic manufacturer company, and it looks like this is their headquarters. So this is a very nice building. We got M&T Bank over here, Looks like some part of their headquarters is here, which kind of makes sense given that the Baltimore Ravens Stadium is called M&T Bank Stadium. Got some department stores over here, and then this building over here, a little bit of the sun. Seems to be like an old power plant, hosting the Phillips Seafood Restaurant and the Hard Rock Cafe. From 1900 to 2000. Been here over 100 years. Pratt Street is the main eastbound road over here. Lombard Street's in the back. And this is Gay Street going northbound. It's currently 2:12 p.m. and this is all the boats out in the water. The buoys right here, the white ones, are the limits on where you can go around. So the sailboats are basically gone, but we still have the dragon boats, and these look like paddle boats. I'm not sure if the sailboats are a paddle boat or they're a motor boat. I'm guessing that they could be paddle boats. More activity now, given that it's the afternoon. We're standing on the northwest point of the inner harbor. This is the USS Constellation. That building that was blocking it was the historic museum shop for all of the historic ships. Well, this is one of it. The other one was the USS Torque. It's also included. Over here, they're boarding for a water taxi over here. And that building, the brown building, is called the World Trade Center, specifically for Baltimore. They even had a memorial for 9/11 for New York City, as well as Washington, D.C. and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. There's a ship over there. It seems to be for Spanish, given it says Escuela Gallas. There's a lot of flags on that ship. Walked a little bit west of the Baltimore Inner Harbor so we can see some of the other buildings. There's the National Aquarium right there, the main one, Pier 3. Talking about the Constellation building, I found out that Constellation is an energy supplier company for Maryland and a bunch of other states, such as Illinois as well. So they're comparing it to New York. It's basically the same thing as like Con Edison, which stands for Consolidated Edison, which is an energy company for the entire state of New York, entire city of New York, plus Westchester County. Here we see the country flag, the US flag, the Maryland state flag, and the, what I'm assuming is the Baltimore city flag. Silverman Thompson is a law firm building. You can still see the Domino Sugar right there. Fort McHenry is somewhere pointed there. It's probably somewhere behind these ports. There's Federal Hill Park, and then this is the big Spanish ship right here. Here's more of the waterfront and the surrounding businesses in the area.